Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Let's do the review. Let's get this over with, shall we? It's a great laptop. It's 16 cores of mayhem. It's an i7 chip, NVIDIA 4060, RTX, 8 gigs. Yeah, baby. 16 gigs of RAM, a little 512 drive. That's freaking fast. The thing's like over 6,800 megabytes per second. It's like, holy crap. That's fast for a 512, man. Like, they shouldn't make them that quick because they're small. I mean, they fill up quick, too. That's me, I know. I'm gaming. So, good thing I got a couple of 1 terabytes around here. And yes, I already cloned my 512, so I can just pop one in and just poof, and voila! And, of course, I got a bunch of updates to do because, yeah, I forgot about that part. Shit. Anyways. I ordered a 32 gig RAM upgrade for it. 16 is okay to get you going for a couple of days, but do yourself a favor, hop onto Amazon and order at least a minimum of 32 gigs. Because, yeah, Windows is going to bloodsuck your butt for a little over 8 gigs of your RAM, so you're going to be running into virtual memory, even with Core, I find. Even though Core only wants about 8 gigs, there's kind of like so much of a borderline to having that left over after Windows is done with you. It's kind of like, I get the odd fart, and I'm like, damn it, that freaking swap. Oh, you know? And then, of course, Game of Thrones. Well, I'm getting like at least, on ultra settings with half the amount of required RAM because it wants 16 gigs to itself. I only got like about 8. Well, it's getting about 70 frames per second. But I'm getting over 100 on Core, so that's good. And I'm getting close to 500 frames per second full out on Far Cry. And I'm like, crap, I should lower the graphics and see if it pops 1,000 frames per second. Anyways, but I haven't put that much of my games in because I don't have a whole lot of space. I only got like 300 gigs free, so it's kind of getting tight now. But anyway, and besides, I only got to wait till Sunday. If I can live till Sunday, I don't care because the terabyte drives are going to get filled up. But anyhow, this thing has 3 USB-A. It's got a mini display port. It's got HDMI. It's got Ethernet, gigabit obviously, as far as we get to go. Headphone jack, speaker out kind of thing. Built-in speakers sound really decent. Quite impressed. Thunderbolt / USB-C. And I had a bit of an issue getting the Thunderbolt up and running. And to make a long story short, hopefully, turns out my Intamin cases have finally decided, we've had enough of your torture, Cabby. We've been running like all this heat, all this time on your Mini. We're now going to make your life a living hell. Okay, but my Meowie case, on the other hand, is really thick metal, and this thing barely gets warm to the touch, so it's working perfectly fine. Okay, now, there is a Kingston KC3000 Express 4 drive in here that is rated for over 7,000 megabytes per second. It gets about, well, a little less than half. It's about 3,000 to 3,100 on my Mac. But on here, it's only getting like 1880 read and about 11 and change on the right side. But apparently that's Windows' fault because Thunderbolt is still kind of apparently a newish thing to Windows. And Microsoft has some straightening out to do. Manufacturers with their computers that have Thunderbolt have their issues to straighten out yet to get things to be a little bit faster. So we could have some room for improvement. Perhaps Windows 12 will help. Who knows? Yeah, it's rare, by the way, and I do mean extremely rare to find Thunderbolt on a PC laptop because it's not a common everyday thing. Trust me, I've looked at a freaking chunk load of freaking laptops, and I'm like, how many of these had Thunderbolt, though, Cabby? I can count them on, like, one hand. And the most expensive one was $8,000, and I'm like, wow. But I had to lose out on a feature to get the Thunderbolt in that one. That sucked. And that's the problem. There's a trade-off. If you want Thunderbolt, you get 1080p. If you don't want Thunderbolt, you might get 3K on the display, but then you're going to have some other sacrifice to make somewhere on top of, maybe. It depends, right? I mean, the way I look at it, I don't care. I mean, this machine is like 5 times better than my Asus TUF was. This was a warranty replacement because with my extended warranty I purchased from MDG, because the factory is only 1 year, this was what they offered me. And I looked up the spec sheet that they gave me with it and a little other bit of homework. And I'm like, well, hell, how can I lose? Other than some frustration for the last 4 hours this morning going, why isn't this Thunderbolt working? Kind of thing. And even HP got online with me between the phone and video chatting and on-screen stuff she did with me. And we're both kind of like, we're not sure what the hell's going on here. And then all of a sudden, like magic, I plug in my Meowie drive and something flicked a switch inside this computer, and all of a sudden it was all straight. But the computer still doesn't know if it's Thunderbolt 3 or 4. That's the funny part, right? The HP says, according to my serial and model number, this is Thunderbolt 3, right? But when you go to Thunderbolt in the thing here, and you go to About for the control center, it says it's 4. And now, I don't really care, to be honest, if it's 3 or 4. It makes absolutely zero for difference anyways. And I can tell you that even from my Mac. It's Thunderbolt 4, my Mini was 3, and the damn Meowie drive does the exact same speed on both. So, there you go. There are some differences, though, but it's not going to be affecting speed between the two versions. But I don't really care. I'm just happy the damn thing works now, and I can plug a Thunderbolt drive in, and it's fine. But now it turns out my Indamin cases are now toast. They actually have always run exceedingly hot for some reason. I don't know why, other than the fact they're really super thin metal. This Meowie case, this thing's like a freaking brick of aluminum. It's pretty thick paneled, and they've actually made a new model of this with a fan in it now and vents. And I'm like, I gotta try that. It's like $83 that I don't have right now, but I'll have to save up some money, and maybe I'll get that case for my PC, put this back on my Mac, because now I don't have a Thunderbolt drive for my Mac unless I do this. So I'm gonna put this on my Mac. But at least now I know the Thunderbolt works and is staying stable. So I got to call MDG back and let them know and say, hey, I think we fixed it. We don't know how, but something magic happened in the La La Land, and it's been on and off, and I've been shutting the computer off. I've been rerunning the test software for the Thunderbolt. It still says it's fine, so which is better than the results we got earlier on. And I also made sure to go in and check out all my USB and all my Thunderbolt, the little stuff in the device manager, do a properties check, and wherever it says power management, turn the freaking thing off. Because that was a piece of advice given on the internet. Make sure that you don't allow the computer to put the device to sleep, because it won't work. Okay? Once it does, until you wake it up. And it's like, I don't want to wake crap up. Just turn the freaking thing off. Leave it. Just don't put it to sleep. And that's where we're kind of at right now. So, anyway, and I'm running the computer in balanced mode too, not high performance or anything. And gaming is really good. Even with the 16 gigs and I'm in, swap playing this stuff, I only get the odd little fart. But like I said, it'll do till Sunday. And on Sunday, I tear it apart. I pop in a couple of 1 terabyte, Express 4 drives. They're going to crank as fast as my internal, which is over 6,800. And I'm good. We're done. Slap back together, slam in the screws, and go, yeah, that's how it's done, boys and girls. Yes. Okay. Anyways, I wish I had much bigger for the main drive, but I'm friggin' broke. So, and I got other things to take care of in the next while. Besides, I gotta get ready for next hunting season, and that's a priority too. So, hey, I already have the drives. I've already got the RAM coming. 32 gigs will more than handle all my games that I play. Right? And it'll handle a lot of the newer games too without too much issue. And we are going to try Decimated again. Yes, we are still 4 gigs short of video for that game, but hey, we should be able to at least get to medium graphics and have 60 frames per second. Because low at 23 sucked. And that was on our last computer, which was the Asus TUF. Because it only had 4 gigs of NVIDIA. This is 8 gigs of 4060. Whoa, yeah! Anyways, so, now, you will, by the way, just as an FYI, need to download the newest NVIDIA app for this thing, being that it's an NVIDIA GeForce card. because the drivers that are in this and will update for you are only going to go so far, and then you're going to get crapped out. So you will not have the most current, so you will need to download from NVIDIA their NVIDIA app, which will replace what came in this thing, and then you'll get a whole new world of drivers, okay, for your gaming fun. They also have an option too to use studio drivers if you're using this for video editing. They have separate specialty drivers for the cards for that purpose, but I'm using the gaming side of the fence, so I'm using the gaming drivers. So I think you should too if you're going to game on the thing. So besides which, I don't do video editing that much on a PC. It's a rare thing. It's why I have a Mac. Macs do it better anyways. Just my opinion and the opinion of millions of people, but you know, take it for what it's worth, right? Anyways, but overall, it's 1080p, 17.3 inch, kind of like a widescreen 17, so it gets pretty immersive, right? I don't use the keyboard and trackpad, but I had no option when I was setting up the computer so I could get access to my Bluetooth, because I do have my external keyboard by Logitech and my new Logitech mouse. Ooh, this is sexy. Anyways, I use external stuff. But from the experience I did have with the keyboard on this and the trackpad, they both work actually quite well. I have no complaints. Now, the keyboard also lights up too in a multitude of 4 different zones, which you can turn it all into one zone color or multicolors or whatever the frick you want to do. Okay, there's an app here called OMEN Gaming Hub, okay? And that's where you can mess around with a lot of different system settings and, you know, power settings among other stuff, and the lighting, of course, obviously, for the keypad. So I've got mine just shut down because why waste LEDs if you don't need to? And my keyboard that I have from Logitech, as soon as I get my hand near it, it senses my hand and it lights up for me. So, and it's a nice bright white color, so I'm happy. So what do we want to do with this? Oh yes, that's right, the 720p webcam. I did a video for you guys, check it out. It's a webcam test. I personally think it sucks because it's a 720p, very low megapixel piece of garbage. They say it's HD, they're lying as far as I'm concerned, but to each their own. There are 2 array microphones in the screen as well up on the bezel where the camera is. They work. I like the audio. The audio is great. I've never been a fan of the webcams on PC laptops. They always suck dirt. Of course, even normal webcams suck dirt. But, I mean, Apple does a much more better job. I mean, we're running 1080p 12 megapixel cameras now on our MacBook Airs. So it's kind of like, yeah, and they're nice. You know, this is still borderline potato face. Just not the greatest. But anyway, what do you do, eh? Other than that, I can say it is a really good computer, and I would recommend it. You can't buy this one specifically from MDG, but they do have a replacement OMEN that's newer model. I haven't even looked on the bottom of this to find out what year it is. Maybe we'll talk about that in another day after I do all my upgrades and let you know how that went. But I would say that regardless, I would put this at a 4.5 out of 5. I really think it's a really great laptop, but once you buy this thing, you're going to want to immediately hop onto Amazon, order an internal Express 4 drive for it, whatever size you want to slam down on that sucker. I have no idea what the size limits are, so I probably wouldn't go past 4 terabyte, but it might handle 8. I don't really know. HP doesn't even tell us that. So you might want to phone HP and find out. You know, depending on what you want to do. But I think 4 terabyte tops would be more than enough into one slot, or 2 twos, save you some money, right? Whatever, okay? And order RAM, at least 32 gig kit. There's 2 RAM slots in this. Now the RAM on the processor specs, the processor can handle 192 gig, but I don't know what the board will handle. And I really, to be honest, I don't care. The way I look at it is it's probably an unlocked board. So it's probably going to end up being, you know, the biggest two-piece kit you can get is what you're going to be able to put into the board, right? You know, we went to 64 gigs without a hassle on the Asus, and that chip was good for 130 some gigs worth of RAM. But I only put 64 in because that's the biggest I could get. You know, this, I don't know. I didn't really look that far into DDR5 for two-piece kit because it's like, I'm not rich and I only need 32 gigs for now. 64 would have been more fun, but, you know, that's a lot more money too. And I figured I need money for other things, so I have a little bit of project money left for whatever. And I'll have 32 gigs in this, which will be more than enough and never touch swap again for at least the majority of games that I play. I won't have to worry about it. So, you know, and those that may go into swap, oh well, it's only going to be a little bit, but it's only like 1 or 2 games that might do that to me, but otherwise I shouldn't have any problems otherwise, okay, from what I've been looking at on my game specs. So yeah, but at least a 32 gig RAM minimal upgrade is what I'd recommend. So on that note, I said I'd try and keep this short. There's not much more I could really, you know, blow off the top of my brain cell here on this thing. You can still buy them new other places for the same exact machine, you know, or check out the newest OMEN package deal that MDG has going on, especially if you're looking at monthly payments and, you know, you don't have the greatest credit in the world. They are a great place to go and the payments are affordable. You know, so that's good, right? You want to be able to afford it and use it while you're paying for it. So there you go. On that note, I think I'm out of here. I probably missed a couple things, but I doubt it. But who knows? Either way, good laptop. I'm really enjoying it so far. And I'm glad I got my Thunderbolt issue straightened out, and now I can use Thunderbolt drives. That was interesting, and I'll have to redo some of that process all over again when I swap in the 1 terabyte drive because I cloned it before I did all this extra work today. Mind you, I didn't know I was going to have to do this until I started trying to dick around with Thunderbolt drives, and that drove me bananas. So, but at least it works now, so we're all happy and good. We still don't know what actually did it. You may or may not run into that problem. I have no idea. However, it is what it is, because sometimes things are left turned off by default, and who knows. But it's doing the job, and it's doing everything it's supposed to, and that's all I care about. So, see you later!